Radio 3 with the song Lanterns, bringing us to the time 1:35. Right, let's turn to our first topic of today. It's still summer, and although many of you may not be on your summer holiday, it's still no doubt one of the busiest seasons for traveling, as well as maybe thinking ahead for your next holiday as well. Or if you're thinking about escaping Hong Kong, well, you must dial up your radio and tune in to the next guest. In the studio with us, we have Johnny Blair, a travel blogger, author, and itinerary planner, and a backpacker from Ireland. Now, he's here to share his story. Since leaving Ireland in 2003, he's managed to travel, work, and live around the world. I don't just mean living in a few places. He has actually visited all 7 continents, as well as over 100 countries. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Doreen. It's lovely to be here in Hong Kong, and great to be on, and hopefully people listening out there are getting inspired to travel and are listening because they have a passion for travel, like you and I do, and plenty of other people. You know, they want to get out there and see the world away from their home countries, hometowns, you know.
Absolutely. So let's back up a little bit, Johnny, and go back to maybe the very beginning. What made you just sort of pack your bag and just go traveling? You know, not a lot of people have that sort of courage to do that.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, there are a number of factors that would sort of have influenced me in my early days. I grew up in Northern Ireland. It's quite a small country. It's quite a small environment there where, you know, once you've sort of experienced it for a while, you want to get out and see a bit more of the world. So I kind of started in a small way, because then I went from Northern Ireland to, you know, England, Scotland and Wales. So I'm seeing the UK. Then I'm thinking, I want to see a bit more. I'll go to Europe. And then eventually I thought, you know, I can go and see North America, and then of course Asia came up, and I just wanted, from that I just got a wanderlust to continue travelling. Basically, once you get on the road, you've just got a passion for it. Every day waking up somewhere new, you just feel inspired, and you know, you don't want to stop travelling. You want to find out more and more ways to keep yourself on the road. So it's sort of started for me, you know, back in the 80s when I was a kid. You know, I was playing football down in the park as everyone else did, but I was never going to be a footballer. I liked writing, so I got into writing eventually, and did a degree in England, and through that, you know, I developed onto a website, and you know, developed it into a career for myself. But along the way, I've had many jobs on my travels, and certainly the inspiration just comes from the fact that, you know, I grew up in a small country and want to see more of the world than that.
Yeah, we'll get to some of the jobs you've done maybe while you're traveling. Maybe let's talk about your blog. You also have a blog, don'tstopliving.net, and also you're on Twitter as well. Why is it important for you to sort of document it on the internet and not in a private way?
That's quite an interesting question. When I first travelled, I went on a school trip in 1991, and I had a handwritten diary, you know, like a piece of paper and pen, which I've got actually right in front of me here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Still to this day, I document everything on paper, because when you're on a bus, you know, I don't have time to get my laptop out and start typing things, so I write everything that's important down on paper. And basically, I had these boxes full of just travel diaries that were, you know, they're just pen and paper. My notes from what do I witness when I'm on a bus journey through, you know, Spain or Iran or somewhere, and I'm just writing down notes, or I'm meeting people and I'm having conversations with them and being inspired by what they've said. So I'd written all this stuff down. I had so much information in my head and in my notes that eventually the best thing to do in this digital age is to tell other people. So I started a mini travel blog in 2007, which is now 8 years ago, and I just did that to document my story. I had no idea that other people would ever read it. No idea.
It's something quite interesting about reading other people's sort of journeys, what they see, and living through them vicariously. I'm sort of got my head hung down. Some of the entries, like you mentioned, Iran being sublime, I'm like, wow, it's such a departure of what we see in the media sometimes. You never think to actually go to Iran and actually experience, and all the pictures that you've taken as well. So what do you look for? What are things that you document then when you're traveling around the world?
I think the most important thing for me to document is the real life journey, the day-to-day life of what happens in a country. You know, like when you wake up, what do people have for breakfast? What do they do in the morning? You know, you'll see, obviously we're in Hong Kong now, so you'll see Tai Chi in the morning. You know, that won't happen in Northern Ireland where I'm from, unless there's a small Chinese community that might do it. But, you know, things that are different in each country, in each city, you know, places that you just won't experience that anywhere else. So the important things for me to look out for and for me to document are just things that I notice that are happening around me. You know, so get out and see the world. Don't stay in a hotel room or a hostel. you know, bus journeys are good as well because you meet interesting characters. You'll get on a bus and someone will have an argument, someone will want to get off at a different stop, someone will try and talk to you in their language, and you've got to try and communicate with them somehow because you don't speak it. You know, so these just little things in their day that influence your life. And sometimes, you know, it's the littlest things can just inspire you. You know, seeing a kid coming up to you and wanting to play football or something, or you know, you'll just have memories that you can't explain really. You need to be out there in the world seeing them to experience it.
Yeah, do you take pictures, a lot of pictures when you're traveling as well?
Yeah, the funny thing is I take too many pictures, so that when I try to go back into my folders on my laptop to find photos, I can't find the ones that I thought, oh, what day did I take that? You know, so I do take a lot of photos. They're very important. They're pivotal, actually. You know, if you want to have a travel vlog, it's good to read words, but in this visual, digital age, people love, you know, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. They like to have an Instagram. They like to have an actual photograph, because you might have eaten some food. And I've got friends on Facebook, and I know for a fact that they haven't been to certain countries that I've been to, and they will love the fact that I'm putting up a photo of some random food, because I would love it if someone did that, you know, when I haven't been there. And these just might inspire other people to try a different food or go to a different country and have a different experience. So photos are a big part of it, yes, certainly.
Yeah, so where is home then, Johnny? Is home Hong Kong, or is it still in Ireland? Or you've travelled, in Chinese there's a phrase saying, the 4 C's are your home, say hoi wai ga, so, but which one is your home?
Say hoi wai ga, is that it? Right.
Yeah.
I have to be honest, I don't actually have a specific home at the minute, but my girlfriend is from Hong Kong, and I've spent a lot of the last 4 years in Hong Kong. I sort of come and go though, so I was out here for a while teaching English and working in a bar and doing some work for Internations. But apart from that, I've come and gone from Hong Kong. I've come for a few months and then leave again, because it is a good base. It's a wonderful. I call it a country actually. It's a wonderful country to have here. Although obviously it's completely Chinese, but the influences from around the world are vast. I mean, you can have any type of food you want. You can meet people from
all over the world.
Everywhere, yeah. It's Hong Kong is really probably my base at the minute, I'd have to say, yeah.
Okay, it's nice to know that Hong Kong is your base. Johnny, we'll get to some song breaks in a minute, but can we talk about the planning for traveling? How important is that, or is it, or do you sort of take it as it comes? You have an idea of what you want to do, or do you sort of research extensively, or what's your recommendation for people wanting to travel?
I think each person has their own way to do it. For a lot of families that are traveling on a short break, I think planning is very important, because they might only have 7 days of a holiday, and they need to know exactly where they're going to stay, what flight they're going to get, where they're actually going to base themselves, and what can they say. So when you're on a short break, you kind of have to be a bit more, you have to stick to the details a bit more and get things in place so that you've got a rough idea. Even just write it down on a piece of paper. I would actually recommend people writing down, day 1, day 2, day 3, have maybe 3 or 4 things you want to accomplish on that day and tick them off. Now, life is not always like that, so when I've been traveling, I actually find that I sometimes get to a country and I haven't done any research. So it's got the opposite, end of the spectrum, where you get somewhere and you just meet people and they influence you. They say, come and see this, have you tried this food, have you been to this ruined settlement, and then you just end up going with the flow. So there's a bit of planning and there's a bit of going with the flow. It depends on your style. As a backpacker, I like to sort of take things as they come. I'll book a flight somewhere or a train journey, and then when I get off that train, I'll see what happens. Yeah.
How do you balance between the must-visit touristy sites and sort of mixing with the locals as well? It's sort of trendy, and I don't know if it's trendy is the right word, but sort of more and more people want to do more local things, not just visit the touristy places. How do you balance that?
I think a very important thing to do is to get a friend that's local, like before you visit. So, for example, I was in Colombia, and I've got a really good friend from Colombia. So as soon as I got there, he met me at the airport, and suddenly I'm already, inspired by this, because I get to meet his friends, I get to have the Colombian, we had a big party actually.
I hear Colombians are so nice, very, very warm. The last travel writer I had on the program, Chris, also said Colombia is the must-go place because people are so friendly.
It is a wonderful place actually, yeah.
But dangerous.
It's got its problems. You can't shy away from that. Obviously, it's been in the news for the last 20 to 30 years. But I think if you can ignore like what the media say of it and go there and see it for yourself, you mean it's got beautiful mountains, it's got colonial villages, it's got Spanish-speaking cultures, and it's got older-speaking cultures from traditional times in that country, and it's also got a lot of passion, for the outdoors, and they've got some crazy things you can do there, like skydiving and all things like that. So yeah, Colombia's pretty cool. I would say when I went there, I had no actual plan, and then it was my friend Julio actually who just sort of showed me around, and yeah, it made me really appreciate local culture and knowing people from that area.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a quick song break and we'll return to more travel stories with Johnny Blair this afternoon.